Hello there, and then welcome to a new lesson. This is Hub Beyond Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. Now, in this lesson, we are looking at significant figures. Significant figures. And at the end of it all, you'll be able to understand and then be able to calculate with significant figures. So, without much ado, let's quickly look at what they are. So, what are significant figures? When we talk of significant figures, they are digits in a number that carry meaning about its precision. You see, so when we talk of precision here, how it goes beyond accuracy. You get it? It goes beyond accuracy. It tells you how more precise your calculation or your measurement will be. Now, this includes all non-zero digits. When I say non-zero digits, that is 1 to any number apart from 0 is a non-zero digit. Then more, right? So let's look at this table here and then see which numbers do we see are significant and then which ones aren't. So for this table here, we are looking at all the types of digits, and then we'll be able to tell which are significant and then which aren't. And as we do so, we are also looking at the laws that show that a number is significant. So for the very first one here, we are talking of non-zero digit. Non-zero digit, as I said earlier on. Non-zero digits are always significant. So far as the number is a non-zero digit, it is what? Significant. I think this table is much clearer. So we were talking of non-zero digits, right? So every non-zero digit is significant. And as I said earlier, non-zero digit refers to any number that is not zero. So for this example here, which said 2.45, let's digit over here. 2.45. 2 here is a non-zero digit. It is not zero, so it is significant. 4 here is also not zero, hence it is significant. And 5 here is also not zero, hence it is what? Significant. So we can straight away say that this digit here has 3 significant figures. Take note, it has 3 significant figures. So any number that is not zero, we say it's significant. It doesn't matter where the number appears. That is the first rule on significant figures. Now, the second rule says zeros between non-zero digits are significant. Zeros between non-zero digits, they are what? Significant. This number 204 here, we are saying has what? 3 significant figures. Why do we say it has 3 significant figures? So if we take the number 204, for instance, for the first rule, we're able to establish the fact that 204 is what? 2 is significant because it is a non-zero digit. 4 is also significant because it is a non-zero digit. But the 0 over here, it is actually a zero digit, but because it falls within significant figures, it has become what? Also significant. You see, so this is the power of association. So because it has associated itself with what? 2 significant figures, and then it is in between them, then the 0 has also become significant. You get it? Because it's a 0 between non-zero digits. That is the second rule. Hence, 204 has 3 significant figures. Now, the next one is leading zeros. Leading zeros. Leading zeros are not significant. No, they are not significant. Okay. So, if we have 0.0045, you see, this over here we are saying has just 2 significant figures. As you can see here, it has just 2 significant. Why? Because this 0 is leading. This 0 is also leading. So all these zeros, because they are leading, they are not significant. On the other hand, this 4 here has become a non-zero digit. Hence, it is what? It is significant. This one also is a non-zero digit, hence it is significant. Meanwhile, if we had 0.00405, this one now is going to have 3 significant figures. The reason being that this first one here is a leading zero, and a leading zero is not significant. This is also a leading zero. This is also a leading zero. Hence, they are all not significant. But this 4 here is significant because it's a non-zero digit. This 5 is also significant because it is a non-zero digit. But this 0 here is a 0 between two non-zero digits. Hence, it has also become significant. You get it? So this is the third rule. Now, that explains why if we are writing numbers, instead of 0.5, we write what? Just 5. Instead of 0.9, we write what? Just 9. Because all these zeros, they are not significant. They are leading zeros, and hence they are not significant. So that is it on leading numbers. Then we come to trailing zeros after decimal. Trailing zeros after decimals. When we talk of trailing zeros, those are the zeros that end numbers. So if you take the number 3.200, these here are trailing zeros. They trail. You see, they are the end. Hence, they are significant. So we say this digit here, or this number 3.200, has 4 significant figures. This 3 is significant because it is a non-zero digit. This 2 is significant because it's a non-zero digit. Then comes the rule we are learning now. This is a trailing zero. It is an ending zero that is coming after a decimal point. In our next one, you would learn that it is not all trailing zeros that are significant. This one here is a trailing zero that comes after a decimal. That is the most important thing. Trailing zeros after decimal point are significant. Hence, this 0 here is significant, and then this here is also significant. That is why we say we have 1, 2, 3, 4 significant figures in the number 3.200. Now, our last rule on significant figures is what? Trailing zeros without a decimal. So I have the example here, 1,500. This 1 here is a non-zero digit, hence it is significant. This 5 here is a non-zero digit, hence it is significant. But this other rule here is telling us that these trailing zeros, so far as they do not appear after a decimal, then they are not significant. They are not significant. Now, do not confuse yourself with significance and then omissions. There are some significant figures, there are some figures that are not significant and we can't omit them. We cannot omit them. So even though we are saying these zeros are not significant, that doesn't mean you can write it this way. Yes, this 15 has got 2 significant figures, and 1,500 has also gotten 2 significant figures, but they are of different values. So these zeros here, though they are not significant, if you omit them, you are going to change the overall value of the number. Hence, we do not omit these figures or these zeros, even though we are saying they are not significant figures. I hope that makes sense. So this here has 2 significant figures. You get it? And then 15 has also gotten 2 significant figures. So that is it on significant figures. Now let's see if we can solve some questions on it. Now, to help us solve questions are these steps you see on your screen. So it says how to round to significant figures. So if you are asked to round a particular number into a number of significant figures, then first of all, for the number you have, identify the required number of significant figures. You see, then you start from the first non-zero digit, and then you count the number of significant figures you want. If you get to where you want, look at the next digit. If it is 5 or more, then we are going to round up. If it is less than 5, then we'll do what? We'll just keep it the same as it is. After which, if the number is a whole number, or if it is a whole number, we replace all the rest with zeros. But if it's a decimal, we just remove them. So let's look at what this means with some examples. So our first question here is we have to round this number into 3 significant figures. We are rounding it into what? 3 significant figures. So we have 237.891, and we are rounding it to what? 3 significant figures. So what we do is the 237.891. Let's ask ourselves, if we want to round it to 3 significant figures, then this here is our first significant figure. You see, this is our second significant figure, and then this here is our third significant figure. And as you can see, they are all non-zero digits. You see, so before we can round to the 3 significant figure, we go to the fourth number. You see, the fourth digit. So for this fourth digit we have here, it is 5 or more. It is 5 or more. So if it is 5 or more, what we do is we increase this by 1. You get it? So we increase the last significant figure. We want 3 significant figures, right? So we increase this one by 1. So that it becomes 238. And don't confuse yourself by bringing 0.00 here. Because you remember we said zeros that appear after a decimal are what? Significant. You get it? So we leave it this way. And this becomes what? Our number here in 3 significant figures. Let me clean the decimal point as well. So basically, that is how we convert numbers into significant figures. You are always rounding. If they are saying 3, then round the fourth one, either up or down, depending on its value. Now let's look at this second 0 here, which says we have to round this, which is 0.005426, to 2 significant figures. So our solution, 0.005426 to 2 significant figures. Now, for our number, we know this is a leading 0. This is also a leading 0. And then this last one here is also a leading 0. And hence, they are all not significant figures. So for this number here, our first significant figure is 5. 4 is our second significant figure. You see, so we have to write 0.005. Now, as to whether this 4 will still remain 4 or it will change, depends on this here, which is a 2. And remember, we said if the number is 5 or more, then we are going to increase this. But if it is less than 5, we write it just as it is. You get it? And we don't continue with these zeros, because you remember, for decimals, trailing zeros are what? Significant. You get it? So we just leave our answer this way. And hence, 0.005426 to 2 significant figures is 0.0054. All these are not significant, but they cannot be omitted. Now let's look at this last example here, which says we have to round 91,200 to 2 significant figures. So our solution, we have 91,200. We are rounding it to 2 significant figures. So first of all, for the 91,200, it has gotten how many significant figures? It has 1, 2, 3 significant figures. And remember, we said trailing zeros for non-decimal, that is, for these whole numbers, they are not significant. Hence, if you want to round it to 2 significant, this is the first, this is the second. But as to whether this second one still remains 1, depends on this. If it is 5 or more, we are going to increase it. You get it? But if it is less than 5, it remains as it is. So that we have 9, 1, then the remaining are changed to zeros. So 1, 2, 3. For this, even though these zeros are not significant, we do not omit them. Because if you omit it, you are not preserving the value of the number. All of a sudden, you are reducing this to 91. That isn't done. So this here is what? our answer 91,000. In view of this, I would give out some exercises just to test your understanding. So you have this here, and then you have to round each of the following to the number of significant figures given. So you have these numbers and you have to round them. The first one says you have to round to what? 3 significant figures. The second one to 2, this to 2, 1, and then 3. This is how far this video is gonna get. Let's have beyond numbers where we learn maths the easy way. Haven't you learned maths the easy way? You can let me know at the comment section if you have any issue of concern. If this is your first time, you can always use to subscribe so that anytime I release a video, you'll be notified as well so that you can also learn along. Stay safe and then stay blessed. Bye for now, and see you in our next lesson.